Hi, I'm Aspen Manning. I'm an assistant professor of geosciences at Southern Utah University. And here at this stop, we can see the differences between north-facing slopes and south-facing slopes. So the reason that we see differences here is because of the relationship between the Earth and the Sun. The Earth is tilted. The axis always tilts towards the North Star at 23.5 degrees. And so in the winter time, the sun is directly overhead in the southern hemisphere, and it's going to be way to our south here in the northern hemisphere. In the summer, the sun is directly overhead at the Tropic of Cancer in the northern hemisphere, but it's still going to be to our south. And so we can see some differences between the north-facing slopes and the south-facing slopes. So one of the things that we can see here at this site is if you look at the north-facing slopes over here, you can see a lot more vegetation. You can still see snow this time of year. And if you look at the south-facing slopes, you see a lot less vegetation, and we don't see any snow over there. So since the sun is always to our south, the north-facing slope gets a little more shaded. So that slope is going to stay a little bit cooler, a little bit moisture. So the soil is going to have a lot more moisture in it throughout the year, and we can get a lot more vegetation growing on that slope. And we could even see some different species. Here on the south-facing slope, there's a lot less vegetation because the soil is going to be a little bit drier. So the sun is almost always shining on it, and we're going to have a lot more evaporation occur on that slope. And so it doesn't support quite as much plant diversity or plant density. So if we look at this north-facing slope behind me, we can see some changes in vegetation related to elevation. So down here, we're pretty close to the valley, and we have a lot of sagebrush and a few junipers. We look up the hill up there, we can start seeing the pinyon juniper association. And the reason we see this change is related to temperature throughout the year. So it stays a little bit warmer here in the valley. As we go up in elevation, the temperature starts dropping. So if we keep driving to the top of the canyon, we'll see all the different changes in vegetation as we increase in elevation. We can also see the effect of the slope there too. So if we are driving up the canyon and looking at north-facing slopes, we'll start seeing the spruce fir association a little bit quicker than we would on the south-facing slope. The south-facing slope, even at higher elevation, stays a little bit warmer than a north-facing slope. So that's why we see all these changes in vegetation. So one more reason that we get changes in vegetation with elevation, aside from the temperature, is the changes in precipitation. So here in the mid-latitudes, we get most of our weather coming from the west, or here in Utah, sometimes it comes from the southwest. But as it approaches the mountain ranges like the Wasatch Range or this one, the air is going to be pushed up over the mountain range. So as that air is pushed up over the mountain range, it's going to start cooling off because it's going higher and higher in altitude. And so it'll be cooled to the dew point, which is the point at which the air becomes saturated. We start getting a lot of condensation. That'll start building clouds and can create rainfall. And so typically the higher up you go in elevation, the more rainfall and more snowfall that you get. So that's another reason why we have changes in vegetation with elevation.